Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Rec Hall in University Park, Pennsylvania, where the Penn State Nittany Lions will be hosting the Nebraska Cornhuskers in the annual Flip for a Cure meet. I'm Parker Thompson, joined by former All-American and Penn State alum, Sheree Musser. Sheree, how does it feel to be back in Happy Valley?
Feels great to be back for a second weekend in a row. I'm looking forward to seeing some great gymnastics today.
As am I. Penn State looking to come back after a tough loss last week. Who's going to be their key gymnast to watch?
Kiara Brown is a key gymnast to watch for Penn State. She's an all-arounder, but best on bars and beam. She could potentially be one of the best bar workers in the country.
All right, and for Nebraska, who's going to be their key gymnast to watch?
Jenny Lang is very clean and consistent on all four events, and that is definitely something you want going into a meet.
All right, consistency is everything. And we'll be signing off now from the Big Ten Network, and we'll be back momentarily for the start of the meet. All right, welcome back to Rec Hall. Both of these respective teams each looking to get started on their touch warm-ups here. Penn State on the vault, the Nebraska Cornhuskers getting ready on the uneven bars. Definitely a lot of nerves going around these two teams right now. Scoring for each of these teams, 6 gymnasts will compete per event. 5 of the highest scores will count, and if the coaches wish, there will be an exhibition routine which will not count towards the scores, but will just kind of give an opportunity for some of these unexperienced gymnasts to get out in front of a crowd and show their stuff. Shreya, as an ex-gymnast, especially an ex-gymnast from Penn State, getting in Rec Hall, lots of people get packed into this place. It has to be nerve-wracking to compete in front of all these people.
Yeah, you know what? It's definitely exciting. There's always a little bit of nerves, but mostly excitement. Talking about those exhibition routines, it's great for a freshman and someone who hasn't had a lot of experience competing to get out on a beam in front of all these people, because it's hard to get that in training.
Yeah, and talking about some of the keys to the meet for each of these teams, Shreya, what do each of these teams need to do in order to get their highest score?
So basically, they just want to maintain consistency throughout all 4 events. Every team has a goal coming into a meet, staying focused on whatever goal that they have chosen. And if there are mistakes that are made, to not be discouraged by them and to keep pushing forward.
We are
All
going to be
right.
throwing some t-shirts into the stands for some of the loudest people out there. So get yourselves ready as we get ready to go into rotation number 2. If you would like a t-shirt, you're going to have to stand up and make some noise.
Touch warm-up still underway here for each of these teams. Looking at about 3 minutes left. Trying to get all these last little nerves out. Here we have the official vault lineup for the Penn State Nittany Lions. Leading off will be freshman Mason Hosek from Texas, followed by Oni Timothy, Gigi LaGuardia, Kiara Brown, Sabrina Garcia, and Brianna Sang. And for the uneven bars for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, starting off for them will be Danielle Green, Caitlin Orell, Ashley Lambert, Holly Blansky, Grace Williams, and Jenny Lang.
Judging fault will be Brock White and Patricia Miller.
See there that Jenny Lang is 6 up on the uneven bars. Again, showing she's very consistent, wanting to save that last routine as scores typically build. So having someone in that 6th spot where you can trust and know that they're going to hit, it gives the rest of the team that security to count on that teammate.
And usually for teams, you see the first gymnast up is generally one of the most consistent.
Yes,
one of
the
more
first one up
consistent
is
warriors.
also very consistent because you want to lead off with someone, again, who that you can trust to hit to get the rest of the team get going.
All right, here is Dan Kindig, entering his 23rd season as the head coach for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. He is also a 2-time NCAA National Coach of the Year.
Is worth a life. AT&T reminds you to keep your eyes on the road, not on your phone. And you can follow us at It Can Wait or learn more.
Eyeing up his girls as they get ready to begin their bar routines. And here is Jeff Thompson for the Nittany Lions, entering his 6th season at the helm with a career record of 146 wins, 101 losses, 74 of those wins and 19 of those losses at Penn State University. Associate head coach for the Nittany Lions is Rochelle Thompson. Cool fact about them, they are married. You don't see too many of those dynamic duos working together for these gymnastics teams. Was it interesting being coached by them, Sharia?
Yeah, definitely. You know, in the gym, it's kind of, at times it was funny to watch their interaction because, you know, as married, it's, you know, you're still trying to be coaches, but they have their disagreements at times, but, you know, overall, they're always on the same page.
All right. 20 seconds left here in the touch warm-ups for each of these teams.
Coach Thompson there, talking to them in their little huddle before they get on vault.
That concludes our brief warm-up period. We are now going to start our first rotation of competition.
That concludes the 3-minute touch period. Mason Hosek up first here for the Nittany Lions. She waits the signal from the judge at the end of the runway. Freshman from Pearland, Texas.
Starting on ball for Penn State will be Mason Hosek.
Judges are going to be looking for a nice, powerful vault, getting lots of height off the table, and of course we want to see those sticks. Got a Yurchenko full, and there's a stick.
Last week scoring a 9-7. Maybe this week we will see a higher score. Her legs were pretty well together right there. She had a nice height off the table, and she stuck the landing.
That's a very good first vault to start off with. Let's see that stick again. Gets the height off the table and spots the landing and sticks it.
A little bit of pike there at the end. As Oni Timothy prepares for her next vault runway.
So you can see there, she's kind of talking to herself. Gymnasts like to say their keywords before they get ready for their routine. So oftentimes you'll see them talking to themselves.
And here's Danielle Breen for Nebraska on the uneven bars, starting off. Hecht mount.
Good cast handstand, something the judges are going to be looking for, are those straight lines. And height on the release move. There was a nice Jaeger. Right into that overshoot. Got a great handstand on that. Winding up here for the dismount. Want to see lots of height. Very nice double layout. One small hop on that landing. Great routine to start off with.
And here's a replay of that double layout at the end there. A little bit of a hop at the end, like you said,
just
Sharia,
a small hop. But for the first routine up, it was, for Nebraska, it was a great start.
All right, up next on the vault for Penn State Nittany Lions is Oni Timothy, a sophomore from Rochester, New York.
For Penn State, Oni Timothy.
Last week, Oni Timothy only scoring a 9.625 on vault. Let's see if she can pick that score up this week.
Rychenko full. One little step back.
High fives all around from her team. Definitely a routine to be proud of there.
Absolutely. Let's take a little look back here.
A lot of power down the runway.
So twisted kind of early off the vault. That's why she didn't get as much height off the vault, but she was able to pull that twist around and had only one small step.
All right, and up next on the uneven bars for Nebraska is Caitlin Orell, freshman from Blue Springs. Waiting for the signal from the judges here once again.
Next on the uneven bars for Nebraska, Caitlin Orell.
Starting off with her release move. Got a Tkachev. Going into her toe handstand right to the low bar and with the overshoot. Her knees are nice and tight. It's good form. A little short on that last handstand. Winding up for the dismount. Another double layout. And one step back. Looked like she piked down that double layout there at the end. Feet landed a little too far underneath her, and that's what resulted in that step back. Let's take a look here.
At her first release move.
Got the Tkachev.
A little low over the bar.
A little bit.
That was Gianna, otherwise known as Gigi LaGuardia, for the Penn State Nittany Lions. Once again, high fives all around as the Nittany Lions run down the vault runway.
Let's take a look back at this vault. Going into the back handspring. Good height off the vault. Was landed a little crooked on the mat. There you see she was more to the left, which again was twisting right off the vault. The judges like to see you landing in the center of that mat. Could result in a 1/10 deduction.
All right, and up next for the Nebraska Cornhuskers on the uneven bars, junior Ashley Lambert from Newport News, Virginia. Looking to start similarly as Danielle Breen did with a Hecht mount from the low bar to the high bar. Pretty common thing to see in women's gymnastics.
Yeah, there's only a few ways you can mount that bar.
Yeah.
So you either start on the high bar or, hop over the low bar to get right up to that high bar.
And here's Kiera Brown for the Penn State Nittany Lions.
Waiting on some scores. As an athlete, it's important to make sure in that those stages of waiting for the judges that you're visualizing your routine before you start. Got the mount going into that first cast handstand a little short. She wants to make sure she hits the rest of those handstands. Very nice release move right into her overshoot.
Another
Again,
short
cast handstand. The judges might kill her for those short handstands, but she made up for it with the nice stuck dismount. So coming up on the vault.
Here's Kiara Brown getting those last little jitters out. She makes her approach down the vault runway here.
Very big Yurchenko full. Couple steps back. Very powerful though.
So aside from those steps, what else during that routine could she have done just a little bit better?
Getting some more height off the table. Let's watch here. As her hands hit the vault, her shoulders were slightly closed, so she didn't get that pop off the vault like she would want to.
All right. Up next on the uneven bars will be Holly Blansky, a senior from Oak Grove, Minnesota.
Next on the uneven bars for Nebraska, Holly Blansky.
Very nice handstand there. Beautiful straddled Jaeger. Again into the overshoot. Winding up for the dismount. Very nice form throughout this routine. Double layout, one small hop. Overall, the form in that routine was very clean. The judges shouldn't be taking much off her knees or toe form.
Up next for the Penn State Nittany Lions, going down the vault runway right now, is freshman Sabrina Garcia.
Another Yurchenko full to a stuck landing.
Pretty good height off the vault runway there, I would say. I don't know about you.
Absolutely. She definitely spotted that landing, knew right where it was.
So we talked about Kiara's shoulders kind of being close together. What do you see there from Sabrina?
So she had a little bit of bent elbows on the table, but she still got some good height and was able to spot that landing.
All right. Up next for the Nebraska Cornhuskers will be Grace Williams, a sophomore. Grace Williams last week putting up a score of 39.025, and in her 2015 season, she was a two-time Big Ten Freshman of the Week. Dan Kindin regards her as a skilled underclassman who will carry her weight.
Full pirouette there into her release move. Coming up for the dismount. Handstand slightly short. We got a tucked full out dismount, one hop forward. She came off the bar a little bit too early, so it shot her out a little bit.
Shot her out a little bit more.
She wanted to go up a little bit more. Let's take a look here at the dismount again.
So, yeah,
so you see the bar kind of pinged off.
Yeah.
That's when it pings like that, you slip off of it a little too soon.
All right. Sophomore Brianna Sang on the vault.
Beautiful 1.5 Yurchenko.
Jeff
That
Thompson.
is a hard vault to stick, and she just did it.
Jeff Thompson really proud of that routine. You see him giving her 2 high fives there.
I would be very proud of that routine as well. That vault. That was, let's take a look here again at that.
Jeff Thompson showing us he is a comedian. along
Very
with being a
nice
gymnastics coach.
form on the vault and in the air, and found that landing. Again, that is a blind landing other than the Yurchenko full, so that was an awesome vault for Brianna.
Can you explain to our viewers what a blind landing is? What does that mean?
So the blind landing is as you're coming around, you can't quite spot the floor. You got to go more off of feeling. The Yurchenko full, you can see the mat as you're landing.
All right, and here is Jenny Lang, key gymnast we talked about here at the beginning of the meet, showing her first routine in the meet here.
Very clean, going into that Jaeger, or excuse me, that was a Ginger. If you notice her form, her toes are super tight. Very nice duck dismount.
So we saw her feet just a little bit apart there. What does that mean
On
at
the
the judges'
landing?
scoring table? Yeah, on the landing.
So you're allowed to land with your feet. If they're any further than shoulder width apart, they can take on that. But you're allowed to land with them, slightly apart. One was kind of in front of the other, so it's going to be subjective to what the judges want to take on that.
And up next on the bars for Nebraska Cornhuskers will be an exhibition routine by Madison McConkey. And as we talked about earlier, these exhibition routines don't count. They don't go towards a score, even if they are higher. So it's just a good way for Madison.
Gain some experience.
Yeah, a good way for Madison to get out there in front of the crowd and show her stuff.
An exhibition is another routine that the coaches want to see how the athlete works under pressure. So this is a way for the gymnast to show the coaches, like, hey, coach, I can do this. Put me in lineup next time.
Madison McConkey getting ready for her dismount here.
Nice double layout dismount.
Getting some hugs from her teammates. Proud of her for going out there and showing her stuff.
You can take a look at the dismount here. So a little different technique on that double layout than you see from other gymnasts.
Yeah, it almost looked like she tried to pop up more.
Yeah, she kind of arches a little earlier and then pulls those feet around at the end.
All right. Final scores for Penn State will be a 48.625 on the vault, with Nebraska scoring a 49.025 on the uneven bars. We're going to take a quick break as we switch from event to event. Once again, I'm Parker Thompson. This is Sheree Musser from the Big Ten Network. Thank you. All right, welcome back to Rec Hall, ladies and gentlemen. On the screen right now, you can see scores through one rotation here. Penn State down by 4/10, with Nebraska scoring a 49.025. Penn State with a 48.625, respectively. Some kind of things we're looking here at the stat sheet. Kind of surprised we saw Brianna Sang with a pretty big routine, big stick, and only scoring a 9.85. So definitely something.
Yeah, the scores look a little low from. It looked like they did great, so maybe the judges were being a little tough on the height they were getting off the vault. Those little shoulder closings on the horse as well.
All right. Up here first on vault for the Nebraska Cornhuskers will be Grace Williams.
All right, vault coming up here. We got a Yurchenko full, one hop back.
With all these same routines we're going to be seeing on vault, I'm curious is to see how their scores kind of align with our scores on vault, since most of them are competing the same Yurchenko full, Yurchenko
Yeah, that's going to come down to, let's look at this replay here. Now watch her hands on the vault. Elbows got a little bent there, so the judges, that's something they're looking for, the bend they can take off for.
Her hands also were a little close there. Are the judges paying attention to kind of where their hands are and aligned to their shoulders?
Not necessarily how close they are. If they're too wide, they can definitely take off for that.
All right, and for the Nittany Lions up first on the uneven bars will be Nicole Medvitz. One of the few juniors competing tonight for the Penn State Nittany Lions, her and Kiara Brown both.
Beautiful straddled stalder there into the Tkachev. Could have maybe gotten a little bit more height on that Tkachev into her pack salto. Very nice handstand all the way up. That's what the judges are looking for. Double back dismount. Little step there. Looked like she was kind of leaning as she landed.
Yeah, when she took that half pirouette, it kind of looked like she lost a lot of her power going into her dismount.
When she did the full pirouette, she didn't quite get on top of the bar, and so she was slightly leaning. Let's take a look here. She was a little crooked going into that dismount, so when she landed, she was still falling to the left.
All right, and that was Caitlin Orell on the vault for the Cornhuskers. And here's a replay of that vault there.
Again, another Yurchenko full. She looked like she got good height off the table, but her rotation stopped in the air and landed a little short. Could take a couple tenths on that landing.
And up next for the Nittany Lions will be Shannon Ray Goza, a sophomore from Upland, California. Jeff Thompson probably telling her a couple jokes before her routine to get her to crack a little smile right there. So earlier we talked about kind of the few ways there are to mount on the bar routine. So Shreya, when you compete at bars, how would you mount? Would you mount from the low bar to the high bar, from the high bar?
I always mounted on the high bar.
Is that just a preference to you, or?
Just the way my routine was.
Okay.
Yeah. Beautiful form throughout this whole routine. Very nice dismount.
Big double layout there.
Double layout right into the stick. Teammates should be happy about that routine.
A lot of power coming off the high bar here. Definitely
Absolutely.
helps her
Very
probably get
clean
height.
Form in the air. Come up on vault. We got the Yurchenko full. Very beautiful.
A little hop there from Megan Schreihofer.
But a lot of power.
Good
Overall,
height. You would say good height off the vault for that routine?
Yes, good height on that vault. Let's take a look here again. Good arms on the table, and as a result, got some great height.
Up next on the bars for the Penn State Nittany Lions, Gigi LaGuardia from Thornton, Colorado. One of the many freshmen competing today for these Nittany Lions. Very young team. As I said earlier, only 2 juniors competing, no seniors currently on the team, so definitely looking among themselves to find strength, and find their will and their determination to go out there and compete.
Absolutely. It's going to be important for these freshmen to rely on their training because they don't have any experience from competitions at the collegiate level.
Talking to Coach Thompson earlier, he did say he did expect falls from his freshmen. However, he did not expect to see his sophomores or his 2 juniors competing to fall. So
You never like to see those falls, but you know, it always happens. Coming into the dismount, full pirouette into the double back. Kind of a big hop forward there. Overall, just clean routine.
for the freshman from Thornton, Colorado. Here's a look at that dismount again. Full pirouette directly into her double back. And there's that hop. Here's Holly Blansky for the Cornhuskers.
Again, a very nice vault. She kind of was rocking back on her heels there at the end.
So is that because she's either spinning too fast, flipping too fast, or having just a little too much power that she's
just
not used to?
A lot of power. Let's take a look here. Very nice height off the vault, and then she lands and hops, and then the weight keeps transferring back into her heels. So even though she had saluted, the judges could take off for lack of control on that landing.
Assistant coach Dan Miller having some words with her there. Here's Brianna Sang from Vancouver, British Columbia. The Penn State Nittany Lions on the uneven bars here.
Now last week she had right there is where she kind of slid off the front of that bar, but she came back and hit it this week.
That's exactly what we're looking for. That's exactly what Coach Thompson's looking for.
Winding up for the dismount. Beautiful double layout. Took a hop backwards.
But aside from that hop, we saw that it was a pretty clean routine. We talked last week about the lines throughout the routine. Gymnasts staying straight as they go from bar to bar and on the same bar that they're on.
Yeah,
so
she has very good
there.
lines when she's on the bar.
Here's a look at her release move.
Jaeger into that overshoot.
Like to see that overshoot with a little bit more of a handstand, but regardless.
The goal is to land in a handstand, but going right out of the Jaeger makes it a little bit more difficult to land in that handstand.
That was Ashley Lambert on the vault. We'll have a replay for you momentarily.
Good power down the runway. Katyurchenko full.
Not too much bend in her arm there, so it looks like she got a little more height than the other girls.
Her form in the air, the feet were slightly apart in the air. Would have liked to see them stuck together a bit more.
All right, here is freshman Sabrina Garcia from Edders, Pennsylvania. Verbally committed to Pennsylvania, the Pennsylvania State University, when she was only a sophomore in high school. So this is her second meet competing for the blue and white, or in this case, the pink and white. So she's definitely excited to be here.
Very nice overshoot. Good handstand. Winding up for the dismount. Double layout and another stuck landing.
Big routine there from the freshman, the Pennsylvania native, coming out, showing her stuff here on the Swip for the Cure meet.
Let's take a look at this stuck dismount here. Good height off the bar. It looked like her knees almost started buckling forward, but she got it.
And here's Jenny Lang for the Cornhuskers.
So she landed with her feet behind her, so it shot her forward.
A little bit of under rotation, on the flip there as well, yeah.
But the form in the air was very good. Let's take another look here. Hands looked a little wide on the table, and that could be a result of not getting the height off the table that she wanted.
Up next for the Penn State Nittany Lions, the junior transfer from Georgia, Kiera Brown, who Coach Thompson regards to as one of the best bar workers in the country. So
we're going to see a very powerful bar routine right here. Coming up this Tkachev, look how much height she gets there. That's so much height. Oh, save that handstand.
Big
Want to
pack
stay
salto there.
tight in that core when you go up into those cast handstands. So when you have a lot of speed and energy, it's easy to go over the bar. She found the nice handstand on top there, winding up for the dismount. Very beautiful. A little bit of a hop forward there. They were probably looking for that stuck landing. But overall, that was a huge routine.
Here's a look at that release move again.
See how much height she gets off the bar. So as she's coming down, she can literally see where that bar is and how far she has to reach for it. It's always fun to, I did that release move, and you can see everything. And when you get that height, you're flying in the air for a bit. It's very fun.
Up next for Penn State Nittany Lions on the uneven bars will be an exhibition routine from freshman Jessica Jones, who is recently coming back from a high ankle sprain on both of her ankles. She was able to compete in last week's meet on the floor exercise. And that will conclude Nebraska on the vault runway. Their final score for that event totaling up to a 48.625 there.
Jessica Jones.
Good handstand. We got the full pirouette right into her tkachev and then right into the overshoot. Got a lot of connections there. Good form. Slightly short on that handstand. Going into her dismount. Small hop forward. Overall, very clean. Good form. So great routine for Penn State.
We'll take a look at that dismount here again. Good power off the bar. Landed their shoulders down a little bit, which might have led to her taking that little hop there.
Yeah.
That will conclude the bar and the floor and the vault exercises for each of these teams. We'll be back momentarily with more live coverage from the Big Ten Network. Thank you. All right, welcome back to Rec Hall here. As we look at the scores through these past two rotations, Penn State trailing by ever so much here. Sharia, how close is that close?
That's pretty close. I mean, that's like a flex toe there. You know, just keep those toes pointed or those knees straight.
Penn State will be on the balance beam with the Nebraska Cornhuskers on the floor exercise.
Penn State's going to be looking to come back, you know, fighting hard on this event. Last week they had a couple of falls, so.
Almost like a little redemption time for them here. Up first on the beam for the Penn State Nittany Lions will be the freshman from Pearland, Texas, Mason Hosick, followed by Sabrina Garcia, Shannon Raygoza, Kiera Brown, Brianna Sang, and Nicole Medvitz. For the floor exercise here for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, Danielle Breen, Megan Schweihofer, Sienna Kraus, Jenny Lang, Holly Blansky, and Ashley Lambert.
Here on the beam, we've got the series backhand spring back layout.
Mason Hosick, one of the few gymnasts last week who did not actually fall in her first meet for Penn State with a score of 9.775 last week. So definitely looking to stay consistent this week and put up a pretty similar score, hopefully.
Beautiful for an aerial. Landing on one foot there. Only a slight wobble. Looking very confident up there on the beam. Hitch kick into the dismount with a stuck landing. That was a gainer full off the side of the beam.
So sometimes we'll see the girls kind of take that approach off to the side of the beam where other girls will kind of do a round off, off the beam, off the back. Is it just preference for them?
So here's that dismount there. Yeah, it's all preference of the dismount. A very beautiful landing.
And up first on the floor exercise for Nebraska Cornhuskers, this is Danielle Breen.
Coming up on the first pass. Beautiful double pike. A lot of height in the air. It's got very beautiful floor music.
Another interesting fact about this Nebraska Cornhuskers team, their assistant volunteer coach, Russell Warfield, choreographed for the national team and also for Cats on Broadway.
Wow.
So we don't know if he choreographed all these routines for these Cornhuskers, but he probably did help with some of them. So in all these different routines, we see a bunch of different types of music, bunch of styles, bunch of varieties. Who makes all this music? How does that work?
So it's between the coaches or the gymnast. I know I would be listening to something, and if I was like, oh, that is such great music, like that would be an awesome floor routine, I would take it to the coach, and they would listen to it. So it's kind of both.
Good to know. And here we take a look at her first pass here.
Sabrina Garcia.
Pike
Got the
double
ground up
back.
handspring, yep, double pike there. So they're in the slow-mo. You can kind of see the feet separating a little bit as at the end coming down. But in fast motion, the judges maybe miss that.
All right, here's Sabrina Garcia on the balance beam here for the Penn State Nittany Lions. Last week, she was one of the gymnasts to fall on the balance beam for the Nittany Lions, earning her a score of 9.1. So definitely looking this week to get a little bit of redemption back. And talking with Coach Thompson, he made it very clear that these girls do the same routine every day in practice. They hit every day in practice. The main thing is to go out there right now and not try too hard to do more than they know they're capable of. They don't try for that stick if you normally don't. But
Yeah, it's important to keep last week out of your mind. Since she did fall, it's important that she's not focusing on that and that she's relying on her training from this past week, because Coach Thompson said that she has had a great beam workout all week. That comes with experience, though, too, is learning how to control your mind.
yeah,
That's
where we saw her fall last week on her little sheep jump there. So already doing better than she was last week.
So focused in there, that's good. Coming up on the dismount, got the 1.5. Oh, almost got the stuck landing. Great routine. Had some slight wobbles here and there. Looked like she was a little nervous, but she pulled it together and stayed on the beam.
There's another look at that dismount there. Up next for the Cornhuskers, Megan Schweihofer.
Starting her routine off with a little smile there for the judges.
As we take a look here at this first pass for Megan Schweihofer.
Another
Pike double back.
Yep, another double pike. And again, landing on a mat, you're allowed to do that. It's to help protect your ankles if you've had an injury. Some very fun and energetic music. Second pass here. Punch front layout to a punch front full.
Even though we see majority of Penn State fans in the crowd here, it's really fun to see all the little boys and girls dancing along, even to Nebraska's music.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely a fun atmosphere for boys and girls of all ages here.
Coming into the last pass. Double back. Landed, looked like her knees
bit of
buckled
crunch.
slightly.
Yeah, a little bit of crunch
a
in her knees.
there. Very fun routine.
Next up on balance beam for Penn State, Shannon Ragoza.
Coming up.
Here's a look
with
at
the
her first pass here.
Good form in the air. Nice landing. I'd say that was a solid first pass.
Here for the Penn State Nittany Lions is Shannon Ragoza. Who also last week was one of the gymnasts to fall on the balance beam. So as we talked about earlier, Jeff Thompson expecting his sophomores to go out, show their composure, and not fall. So we will see what we have here from Shannon.
Switch leap into a split jump. Judges are looking for complete 180 in those splits.
And also for their toes to be pointed too, right?
Toes pointed, knees straight. Some beautiful dance moves there. It's always nice to show off your flexibility.
Shannon being one of the taller gymnasts on the team, with that height that she has, does that make competing on some events harder for her?
Very nice dismount. Stuck the landing there. To go back to your question, Parker, you know, it's a little hard to tell. I mean, if you are tall and you can handle it, great. You know, me not being so tall, I can't really tell you how that would be.
All right, here is Sienna Kraus for the Cornhuskers on the floor exercise.
Teammates clapping along here, trying to get their teammate pumped up.
Some choreographed claps from her teammates on the sideline there. Always fun to see.
Nice sleep pass. Making sure that that form is good. 1.5 punch front layout.
Getting prepared here for her third pass.
With all these fast stance moves, again, I know we talked a little last week about breathing throughout your floor routine, because coming up for, you know, your final pass, you want to make sure you have enough energy. And that was a great last pass there. Beautiful routine.
Next on balance beam for Penn State will be Kiera Brown.
So we take a look at her second pass here.
This is the round off, 1.5 punch front layout. Very nice control on the landing. Came slightly forward on that front leg, but it was a forward pass. So overall, nice and solid routine.
All right, up next for the Nittany Lions on the beam is junior Kiera Brown. Last week scoring a 9.8. Another one of the few gymnasts for Penn State to not fall. So I'm sure Coach Thompson, both Coach Thompsons, would be pleased with the 9.8 again this week from Kiera Brown.
That was a solid landing for this series. It almost looked like in the air that her back knee was slightly bent in the layout. Oh, and this side aerial just landed kind of crooked. Didn't get enough kick with that back leg over the top. Landed a little short and knocked her off.
Between the two events, before the Penn State Nittany Lions came over to the beam, Jeff Thompson came over and said he wanted to give Kiera Brown the Try Hard Award, and with Shannon Ragoza only scoring a 9.4, you have to wonder, did Kiera Brown go up there trying to do better than she normally does, which led to that fall there.
You know, you always got to try and stay out of your head and trust your training. It was a very good dismount coming off of that fall. Overall, other than the fall, it was all her other skills looked solid.
Up next on the floor exercise for the Cornhuskers, junior Jenny Lang. Definitely one of the gymnasts to watch.
First pass. Couple steps back
there. Looked like she almost didn't have her footing under her entirely when she made that landing. She just wasn't sure which foot was going where.
Let's see if she can get this second pass. But much better landing there. You know, even though you make a mistake, it's important to carry on and just do your best throughout the rest of the routine.
Flashing a smile there to the judges' table. Judges love to see that. High energy.
That was cool.
Definitely one of the more intricate routines we've seen so far this season with some of her dance moves that she's doing. As we get ready to see her third pass here.
Got a front handspring, front fold to a front pike. Beautiful landing. Didn't see a whole lot of room for deduction there on that last pass. Very beautiful routine. That was a fun, upbeat routine. I loved all her dance. Very unique dance moves in that routine.
Take a look at her third pass here, her front tumbling sequence.
Good form in the air. Nice landing.
We'll expect to see a pretty respectable score there from Ginny Lang. Up next on the balance beam for the Nittany Lions, Brianna Sang. Also one of the gymnasts last week who fell on the balance beam. So let's see what she can do this week for the Nittany Lions.
With the Kara up before her, had the fall. So it's going to be important for Brianna.
Brianna and Nicole coming up next to go out and hit their routines.
Very nice back layout, back layout. Nice jump into the switch side. Small bobble. Able to pull it back on the beam. It's important to talk yourself through the whole routine, especially when there are a lot of nerves. You want to focus on telling yourself the things you want to do and not focus on what you might be scared of doing, like falling off the beam. So always focusing on the positives during a beam routine. Beautiful dismount, slight hop back.
A pretty good routine there from Brianna Sang. We saw that she made her side aerial, which is where she fell last week, so she was able to power through and pretty much stay out of her mind and go out and hit her routine. Up next on the floor exercise will be Holly Blansky. During watching warm-ups, I believe she competes a double layout.
Well, we're about to find out.
We're about to find out.
Huge double layout.
A little bit of bend in the knees there at the end. She kind of came down up forward on her toes a little bit. But
slightly there at the end.
That's a big pass to compete at the collegiate level. Gearing up for her second pass here.
Punch front layout to punch 1.5 into that little jump there, the double stag.
So will that work as a connection that we talk about each gymnast needs in their routine?
Yeah, that was her connection pass. Oh, nice little C-drop there. I don't know how I would feel about doing a C-drop on the floor.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid doing gymnastics.
Maybe a trampoline.
Doing C-drops on the trampoline, so definitely interesting to see that on the floor. Taking a deep breath as she gets ready for her third and final pass here.
Run up back handspring, ending with a double tuck, and she didn't even step back. That was a very solid end to her routine.
Big routine right in front of us at the announcing table. Coach Dan Miller approaching her, giving her a big hug. Definitely proud of that routine as we're going to take a look back at her first pass here. Big double layout. Not too many girls compete this.
So slight bend of the knees in the air, but ever so slight.
And here is Nicole Medvitz on the balance beam for the Nittany Lions.
She's got the one arm back handspring right here. So the one arm into the back layout. Makes it a little bit more difficult.
So do they get a little higher skill?
Yeah, it's an extra bonus. Beautiful illusion there. I believe she had fallen off on that last week. So she came out and tackled that one. Beautiful flexibility.
Still a little bit more routine for her to go through here.
Yeah, that's the other thing. If you had a fall the previous week, that if you hit that skill, it's important to not be like, oh, I made it.
Yeah.
And then, let your mind down. You still have to keep going all the way until you salute the judge at the end.
Gymnastics, equally mentally challenging sport as it is a physically demanding sport as well.
Absolutely. And that's why when you see sometimes they'll fall off on an easy move, and it's like, whoa, why did that happen? And, you know, they let their mind down. They're like, oh. So front aerial, didn't quite, you know, get it all the way around. And
another one of those blind. You're going into that.
So, you know,
blind.
hopefully she didn't get to that point where she got it through her illusion. Was like, oh, I stuck that, and you know, you never know what's going on in a gymnast's mind. But as a past competitor, I kind of seeing it in training and experiencing it in competition as well. It's challenging to control that mind.
And here for the Cornhuskers on the floor is the junior, Ashley Lambert. So far today, throwing up 2 equal scores of 9.775 on both the vault and the bars.
She's a very aggressive
A little
floor
more
routine.
intense, yeah, a little more intense. See if that translates into her 3 tumbling passes. She's a very powerful tumbler.
Another double layout. Definitely powerful.
Both these girls so far opening up with big double layouts on the floor, but I always like to see what it is that they end with. That third pass when you're tired. What can you end with? What can you show the crowd that's this big?
Absolutely. It's always fun to play with the crowd a little bit, as well as the judges. The judges like to see you interacting with them in a way while you're doing your floor routine. You know, kind of looking at them when you're facing, and not every gymnast does that. Sometimes you're so focused. If you take your mind off it, you can kind of lose it, but others like to look at the judges. Beautiful double pike.
Double pike there, which we see some girls for the Penn State Nittany Lions opening up with. So just to show how good of a floor worker Ashley Lambert is.
Definitely a powerful floor routine. Looks like she's very happy with that routine. I would be.
As we take a look back here at that first tumbling pass for Ashley Lambert, double layout.
Looking for good form in the air. Very nice.
Nice height, a little bit of bend in the knees like we saw.
Slightly,
but not
you can see
not
that
too
more
much.
in the slow motion than you can.
Rochelle Thompson flashing some smiles around as Ernie Timothy. The exhibition routine for the Penn State Nittany Lions here. So once again, not counting towards the score, just giving Oni an opportunity to go out there, get in front of the crowd, and kind of show her stuff. I have to wonder what Rochelle Thompson is down there saying to Oni Timothy right now.
She's, you know, I bet that she's kind of just joking around with her because, you know, you want to take the pressure off your athlete. You don't want to be turning to them going, oh, you got to stick this now. Like, no coach is ever going to do that. Well, at least I hope they don't. You know, as an athlete, I always loved the jokes. You got to loosen up, relax.
So even though this is an exhibition routine, and I know you never competed in any exhibition routines, I think it's important for the athletes still to put a little bit of pressure on themselves and not go out there and say, okay, my score doesn't matter. But in all honesty, what they go out there and do does matter because they are still competing for a potential spot in that lineup of 6 gymnasts.
Yeah, it's a way for the coach to see how you're going to do, you know, in a different setting, you know, that's not in the training gym, and you have a ton of people watching you, so it's important to treat it like your score counts. But it is in the back of your head that, you know, oh, it's just an exhibition, but you want to treat it as if it's not an exhibition routine.
Definitely will be another week for the Penn State Nittany Lions where during practice they probably focus a little bit more on being there's the only two falls so far this meet have been on the beam.
Coach Thompson said that they were hitting all week in the gym, so you know, maybe the nerves are getting to some of the gymnasts, and should maybe do I don't know, some more mental training. I mean, this event is tough. You could stick every single beam routine in practice and come out and fall, and then you know it's part of your mind.
And here for the Nittany Lions in our exhibition routine is Oni Timothy.
Got some nice straddle jumps. Coming up for the series. Standing, back layout, back layout. One step backward, but she stayed on the beam. Always looking for that fight. You don't want to give anything away. She looks very focused.
Oni Timothy, definitely one of the bigger competitors on the Penn State Nittany Lions. You can always see this pretty, I don't want to say aggressive, but it's very competitive nature she has about her, and everything that she does, she wants to be the best, and it's pretty easy to see.
Beautiful dismount. A little bit of a hop forward. She stayed on the beam. Let's take a look here. Got the dismount. Very beautiful height. Again, that's a blind landing, so another hard skill to stick.
And here in an exhibition routine for the Nebraska Cornhuskers is Caitlin Orrell.
First pass. Got a huge double pike. Leap pass going right into the dance. I always like when you don't quite land those leaps, you kind of dance out of them.
Is that
That's
something
always
the
an
judge,
option.
Is that something the judges can notice?
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to land. You can always dance out of your leap pass as long as you're, finishing the skill.
And on those leaps,
the rhythm moving.
And on those leaps, the judges are still once again looking for pointed toes and
pointed toes. Yep, getting
straight.
the 180 split. They should have to show variety as well with the jump. So you can't just do like one split jump. You got to do like split jump or a straddle jump or two different types of jumps, not just the same one.
Makes sense.
Once again, reminder to the gymnastic coaches that once this final floor score gets closer, we will start that 6-minute
All right,
clock.
let's take a look back.
There'll be a 2-minute
I believe we have her third pass.
transition period, and then you may
Round off back handspring, or excuse me, round off 1.5
mark.
to punch front layout.
And that will conclude the floor exercise and the beam for the Penn State and Nebraska Cornhuskers. Penn State finishing up with a score of 48.150. Nebraska with a 49.150. We're going to take another brief intermission as the teams begin their warm-ups for their respective events. And we'll be back with you momentarily for more live stream coverage of this meet. And welcome back to Rec Hall as you take a look at these scores there. Penn State right now with a total score of 145.75, with Nebraska with a 146.8. So about a point differential there. Sharia, how much is that in the world of gymnastics? And is it possible for Penn State to maybe come back in this situation?
You know, it's going to be tough, but they have one more event, and I'm sure that the coaches are just telling their athletes, like, look, guys, we just want to see what you do in practice because you've been practicing great. So I'm sure as long as they are seeing what they normally train, that's all they can ask of their athletes. A little bit of wobble there on that series.
And this is Ashley Lambert.
Had her leap series there. Beautiful extension on the switch side. Side semi. It's a little difficult landing sideways on the beam like that. Dismount is a gainer full to a stuck landing.
All right, and there's the beam lineup for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. As you saw, Ashley Lambert leading off. Will be followed by Danielle Breen, Megan Schweihofer, Holly Valansky, Grace Williams, and Jenny Lang. And up first for the Penn State Nittany Lions on the floor exercise will be Sabrina Garcia, followed by Kiera Brown, Oni Timothy, Mason Hozek, Jessica Jones, and Brianna Sang. So as we talked about in these key points earlier in the meet, what is it Penn State needs to do right now in order to get back on track after beam?
Yeah, just like we talked earlier, it's important to not be discouraged by the mistakes that they may have made on beam, and they need to come out on floor and fight hard and put their best out there.
First pass here from Sabrina Garcia.
Beautiful double tuck. You know, at this point for Penn State, it's their last event, and you know, you just kind of want to go out on the floor. It's a good event to, you know, maybe take out some aggression from the event before. You know, get all that power out and try and fight.
You know, gymnastics, unlike other sports where you pretty much have a say on what can happen. Right now in gymnastics, it's you go out and do your routine, the other team goes out and does their routine. You hope the judges score you fairly, and
so the athlete is in control.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's nothing you can do about the other team, so there's no need to focus on, you know, what they're doing on the other event. It's staying focused on your team and what's at hand. Round off 1.5, punch front layout into a stag leap to end the routine. Good start from Penn State.
From the freshman Sabrina Garcia there. As she goes to high five her teammates, we're going to take a look at her final pass here.
Good form in the air. Nice height, right into that jump, getting those connections.
And here's Danielle Breen on the balance beam for the Cornhuskers.
Got the one arm back handspring into the back layout. Could kind of see she started to wobble, but she danced right out of it, trying to cover it up. That's one thing I like about keeping the routine moving, is if you do have a wobble, you can kind of throw in a dance move and try and cover that wobble up. Nice jump sequence. Looking very confident as she's up there on the beam. Dismount here, got a round off, 1.5 twist. Little hop on the landing. Teammates look proud of that routine.
Gonna take a look at that dismount here again.
Good form, very nice.
Up next on the floor exercise for the Penn State Nittany Lions will be the junior transfer from Georgia, Kiera Brown. Real intense look on her face there.
Yeah, some gymnasts like to be all smiles and others like to be a little bit more intense. Huge double back. There's a little smile.
teammates clapping on along with the beat there, as you can see in the shot right now.
Beautiful jumps. I don't think there should be any deduction taken from those.
Let's take a look at our second pass here. Big double pike there.
Pike, yeah. Typically you would start with the double pike and then do the double tuck. She had those switched around.
I have to wonder if that was on purpose or maybe a little bit of an accident there.
No, I think she should know what she's doing before she goes out on that routine. Coming up on the last pass. Another round off 1.5 to a punch front layout. Some solid landings from Kiera.
I'm going to take a look at her last pass here.
Good form in the air. Kept those feet together in that front layout. Very nice.
And here on the balance beam for the Cornhuskers is Megan Schweihofer, who so far today, for a freshman, has put up some pretty high scores with a 9.8 on vault and a 9.825 on floor.
Oh, so landed a little bit on the side of the beam there. I kind of could tell in her back handspring going into that layout, she looked a little crooked. I was hoping she was going to pull it back on the beam.
So right now, Nebraska so far will be counting one fall with that from Megan Schweihofer there. So the next three gymnasts for the Cornhuskers, which would be Holly Blansky, Grace Williams, and Ginny Lang, definitely have a little bit more pressure on them than they're normally used to, probably.
Yeah, remember, 6 girls up, 5 scores count. So there's a possibility they could drop the one score of the fall as long as the other gymnasts do their job. And this is something that you train for. You know, if there is a fall in front of you, how are you going to bounce back from that? Very, very nice double full dismount, slight hop forward.
Assistant coach Heather Brink exchanging some words there.
Next on floor exercise for Penn State, Jessica Jones.
And up next on the floor for the Penn State Nittany Lions will be freshman Jessica Jones, who last week for the Nittany Lions scored a 9.85 on the floor exercise in her first meet for a freshman, which is a pretty high score, a little bit above average.
Coming up with the first pass here. Beautiful double pike. Looked like she had a lot of rotation still going backwards, but she was able to stop that rotation pretty good. And there was those 2 different jump sequence. Had the split jump and the straddle jump. Front handspring, punch front layout to a front half. Last pass here. Another front handspring to a front layout to a punch front full.
Big routine there from the freshman Jessica
floor
Jones.
routine.
Interested to see what that final score comes out to.
Next up on the balance beam for Nebraska, Holly Blansky.
Coming up here on the last pass. Take a look at that front handspring. Front layout, nice form in the air. Good landing.
And here for the Cornhuskers on the balance beam is Holly Blansky, a senior so far today, throwing up some scores: a 9.775 on vault, a 9.8 on bars, and a 9.825.
Cut a triple series there as back handspring to a back layout.
So will that give the gymnast a little more
some bonus
points
there,
for
yep.
connection.
Punch front, haven't seen that yet today.
Very pretty switch leap there.
Absolutely. She's got very good rhythm going back and forth on the beam. You want to make sure that you're not going too slow. Winding up for the dismount. Beautiful double full. She fought for that stuck landing. Came up on her toes, but was able to pull it back down.
So even though she leaned forward a little bit there and she kind of came off her heel, that still will kind of be count as a stuck.
So, yep, still a stuck dismount. The judges could take a little bit. Let's take a look here. So as she lands, comes up on the toes, the judges could still take off a little bit for that upper body, but she's not going to get the 10th for a step or a hop.
And up next on the floor exercise for the Penn State Nittany Lions will be sophomore Oni Timothy.
Backed off the floor there. Must be waiting for
Jeff,
the judges to
Jeff
go score.
Thompson exchanging some words there with head judge on the floor over there. Trying to figure out what's going on. Maybe something wrong with the start value here of a routine. As Coach Thompson walks back to the other judges' table to reconfirm.
Oni trying to stay loose before her routine.
Definitely a bit of a mix-up, something we're not used to seeing before the routine started. Do you think this is going to change kind of the outlook that Oni has right now? Is this an extra variable?
It kind of depends on the athlete. This is something where you can't let that interfere with your routine or what's going on in your head. I mean, your coaches through training, like during practice, can train you for something to happen like this and kind of coach you through, you know, what you should do as an athlete. If this happened to me, I would visualize my routine. If I knew it was going to be a while, I'd, you know, turn around, sing the song that's going on in the background. I don't know, anything to get your mind off of the routine or wondering what's going on.
And this delay on floor, setting back.
You see there, she was dancing a little bit on beam.
Setting back the vault line up here as well.
So the weight also, you know, over on beam, they have to wait as well until the floor routine is over. So this not only impacts Penn State, but it impacts Nebraska as well.
So I think they are talking about the start values. I'm not sure what else they could be talking about.
Yeah, probably start value.
Before, so we'll take a look. Oni Timothy ready to compete here.
So hopefully she's kind of shaking off that little waiting period and is able to tackle this routine. Looking here for the first pass.
Big
Nice
double
full
Arabian
in.
there, yeah?
That full in.
Oh, that was a full in, I'm
Yep.
sorry.
Got the double back with the full twist in it. Slight mix up on those leaps, it looked like almost. Coming up for the second pass. Got a whip. Oh, couple of steps back.
Landed a little short there.
So depending on how many steps she took, it could add up to a fall. It's important to keep up positive self-talk right now as you're going through that floor routine. I would be telling myself to finish off this last pass the best you can. Got to round up back handspring to a double pike. Again, a little short. Could be running out of some energy. Maybe not the routine they were quite hoping for.
Nonetheless, it's kind of the cards that have been dealt. So we'll see how these last two gymnasts go out and compete to see what they can do for their team.
Still have a couple more athletes up.
You go take a look at that last pass by Oni Timothy there.
Double pike. See how her chest is really low to the ground. Instead of putting the hand down, she kind of kicked that leg back.
Definitely making it a little bit harder to land there.
Yes.
Up next on the balance beam for the Cornhuskers is sophomore Grace Williams.
Very hard series there. It was a back handspring layout. Not something you see too often in collegiate gymnastics. Pretty full turn. We got a side aerial dismount to a back full and a stuck landing.
And as you can tell by the reaction from her teammates, that is the routine they were looking for. They were definitely pumped up about that one there. Gonna take a look at that dismount here again.
Side aerial right into that back full. Very nice.
A little bit of space between her feet there, but I don't think it was too much for the judges to consider taking any points off.
Yeah, as
there.
long as your feet are together, if you can slide and touch your heels, then you're good to go.
Here on the floor for the Penn State Nittany Lions is the freshman Mason Hozek. Who did not compete on floor last week, so found her way to work herself into the lineup for floor this week. Opening up with a 2.5 into a punch front.
I believe a freshman, Peyton, had competed last week on floor and then was out with a knee injury. So then they put Mason in.
I remember Coach Thompson saying something. She was working on her floor passes actually during practice, and she heard something pop in her knee. And
never a good sound to hear. Beautiful lead pass.
This part of the routine definitely slowing down a little bit, but the crowd's still finding a way to stay enthusiastic.
She's almost close to the out of bounds in that corner there. It's important. You got to watch where you're at. So before you're starting that pass, you don't want to
take a step
out.
back. And then
yeah.
It's what? It's a 5/10 deduction when you step out?
It's actually just 1/10.
1/10?
Very nice routine by Mason.
Next up on the speed for Nebraska, Jenny Lang.
Let's take a look at this pass here. We got a round off back handspring to her double pike. So a little bit of form in the air.
Yeah, it looked like when she took off, she tried to start her flip a little early there, so she didn't get
kind of
the
threw that
kind of max
head
height.
back a little bit.
Here on the beam for the Cornhuskers is junior Jenny Lang.
Very beautiful back handspring, back layout.
We talked about earlier, she is the key gymnast to watch for Nebraska. They have her 6th in the lineup there, meaning they're definitely expecting a pretty big routine here for her on their final event.
She's very clean with her form. You can definitely see it. There's another punch front.
Small wobble, but
yeah, she covered it up good. Trying to move right into the dance moves. Again, the flow of the routine is very important. Not wanting a lot of pause before the skill.
so when you talk about flow, you almost mean like each routine has its own rhythm.
Yeah, you want to keep it moving. You don't want to have any pauses. Very nice dismount.
What was that dismount called?
That was a front gainer with a twist. It's something you don't see too often either.
Let's take a look at that here again.
So kicks forward, gainer, and then she had kind of piked it down.
So is it
that's
supposed
part
to
of the
be laid out,
dismount.
or it's supposed to be piked?
Yeah, it's supposed to pike down at the end there, yeah, to get it to come around.
All right, here's sophomore Brianna Sang. Hoping to maybe turn this routine around here for the Penn State Nittany Lions.
Here's your double Arabian.
Big double
That was
Arabian
awesome.
right into the corner. Good height. She cowboyed her knees just a little bit there. I'm not sure what the judges think about that.
If the knees come apart too much, the judges can take on that. Got a 1.5 punch front half. I think last week she had sat down that double Arabian, so she definitely came out and tackled that first pass today. It's probably something that they worked on in practice all week. Important to breathe for this last pass. Round up back handspring. Beautiful double pike. Looked like she had plenty of energy for that. Very nice routine from Brianna.
Just want to take a look here at that final pass from Brianna Sang again. I want to note, it looked like one of her landing feet almost slid a little bit when she landed. Let's take a look here.
Let's take a look. Good round up back handspring. Nice height through the air. And as she lands, yeah, a little bit of a slide.
Is that something the
She kinda
judges could
slid that
deduct for?
front. Yeah, they could. When your feet touch the floor, they're trying not to slide or move,
And
except for the
here's-
one foot coming back.
Up next on the beam in an exhibition routine is Madison McConkey.
Good save there
Senior
on that
for the
triple
Cornhuskers.
series. Good switch leap right into a swing down. It is also something that the gymnasts need for the beam routine. They have to show going down on the beam and then coming back up. Oftentimes they start that with their mount. Got a little twiddle jump into a sheep jump. Now that jump is really hard because you throw your head back, you take your eyes completely off the beam, and then you have to come back and find where you're at.
Definitely a challenging skill for these gymnasts. It's a dismount.
Round off 1.5. Didn't quite get that landing, but a little bit of a hop.
Nonetheless, for an exhibition routine, pretty good, no fall. That will conclude this event. We're going to take a break before we come back for the final scores from the meet. For more live coverage of this gymnastics meet, head to gopsusports.com. All right, welcome back to Rec Hall in University Park, Pennsylvania, where we have the final scores ready here for you. Penn State coming in second place with a 194.575. Nebraska winning the meet with a 196.150. So Shrey, at the beginning of the meet, we talked about things Penn State needed to do, things Nebraska needed to do. Nebraska winning this meet, what it is that they did, like how did they go about winning this meet?
Yeah, well, overall, they were just very consistent on every event. I mean, they only had that one small mistake on beam, but again, you can drop a score. They are very clean. You know, Penn State had a great meet. They looked wonderful in all the events. A couple minor mistakes on beam, but I'm sure they're going to be getting back into the gym and in training, working on those things again. It's only the second meet. There's tons of room for improvement.
So for Penn State, some of the things they might need to work on this week in practice would be?
Being able to maybe handle pressure better. It looks like when there was one mistake made, maybe some of the other girls buckle under that pressure. So kind of training your mind and how to get past that.
All right, this live coverage has been brought to you by the Big Ten Network. Once again, I'm Parker Thompson, joined by former Penn State gymnast and All-American Trey Musser. Thank you for tuning in.